why do women fall in love faster and men seem to ghost after sex? Is it a player mindset, or are we just literally wired differently? Hormones have a lot to do with it, and once you understand how they work, you will never see dating the same way again. So let's talk about it. Now, this was a very interesting subject that we came upon because I love data. I love facts.
Oh, yeah. And science.
I love the science behind it. I love
psychology.
The psychology that comes in with it. Like, my mind was blown because I didn't know this was a thing.
I only know bits and pieces of this, and then you started talking more about it, and I was like, whoa, I had no idea.
And then I really got into it. Yeah.
Welcome to the Good Seed Podcast. I'm Allie.
And I'm Rachel. Yeah.
So I watched like this podcast episode, and then I started actually like
researching
because it's really impressive and it's really cool. I think that, what do you think from your perspective and your life experiences? Do you feel like I'm the type that would literally, like, if I'm texting a guy and we're texting constantly for a couple of days, let's say, and then by day 5, he like doesn't text me, I'm like, what's wrong with you? But why would I feel entitled so early on to have a guy just be there at
your beck and call day 5?
I would understand it if you ask me personally, but at the same time, there's a science like behind this whole thing. So do you feel that you feel the same way whenever you're like, what's your take on all of this? And we'll start getting into like the actual science behind it. Yeah.
I feel like from my life experiences, I am just by nature more detached, but I know that that's not necessarily the norm or the way that we were wired, right? Like if you would have asked me probably 5 years ago, my answer would probably be different.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like pre-divorce, my answer would probably be different.
Pre-trauma, yeah.
But but I still feel like it's relevant though, because even if you've gone through, a messy or bad breakup or divorce or anything like that, which I feel like most people have, especially at this stage of life, then it just explains so much. Like it explains our behavior. It explains why girls like overthink everything, and they usually make a mountain out of a molehill, right? Like they usually overthink a guy's reaction, and then guys are just so much more chill about things, and this explains why. And it's really cool.
It's really impressive. I think that our whole point with doing this episode and bringing this to your awareness is that first, I feel like when you're aware of something, the trial and error part can be somewhat taken out of the equation because you're aware of it. And not only that, to actually like give you tools to set yourself up for success if you're still in like the not married space, or you're not currently in like a serious monogamous relationship.
If you're dating, then this is very relevant.
This is going to be really, really helpful, I believe.
I feel like even if you are in a committed relationship or if you're married, I still feel like it could be relevant.
You could probably understand your partner a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%.
That is true. So here's the thing. We as women, we have certain hormones that
I can cut this out. Don't worry. Somebody's calling me on clothes, which is what's happened. What that
means. Start over there. So that's the start. We are as women. We don't have to do.
We don't have to do the whole intro. And I don't know how to show.
I don't know if you can follow.
You don't have it on Do Not Disturb.
Huh?
You don't have it on Do Not Disturb.
I do, but close. If I get a phone call on close, I have no way to silence that, which is our CRM.
Do you have the app connected to your?
Yeah, like it dinged when it was closed.
I use that on the investment bank offer.
I don't know. I'll figure it out later.
You can put your computer on Do Not Disturb.
Everything's on Do Not Disturb.
That's right. Okay. Fuck, that threw me off.
Sorry. So I think you were going like,
okay.
We as women.
Okay, we're ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave you to record.
Okay. We as women, we have certain hormones that basically get us to actually feel attached a lot faster than men. So first and foremost, oxytocin, right? Like that is our short-term bonding hormone.
Isn't that the happy hormone too?
It's the happy hormone. But for women, because I'll get into the men's side of this here in a sec, but for women, oxytocin, when that's released through sexual intercourse, basically, and you have it very early on after meeting someone, your metric system isn't going to be, oh, I've met this person for 3 whole days. Like your metric system doesn't really come into play here at all because your hormones are taking over. And
like your logical brain just flies out the window.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Totally flies out the window. So add on to that, that's our short-term bonding hormone, right? So now add on to that estrogen, which heightens our emotional connection, right? Because we're women, we're emotional. The more estrogen you have, the more emotional you get, right? So that's why whenever we're like about to get our period, we start crying all of a sudden, and then you get your period and you're like, oh, I wasn't a little bitch, I was actually about to get my period. High estrogen
that
levels,
explains
right?
it.
Yeah, so there's a couple of factors into this, but here's the thing. We have oxytocin, which is a short-term bonding hormone, and then we have estrogen, right? So when those two things come into play and you've met this person for literally 72 hours and you're already opening up your legs and you're having sex with them, it's just literally the perfect storm. Why? Because here you are with these two like very like highly influential hormones that are basically guiding your every freaking emotion and thought, and then here comes the guy in with oxytocin that actually is decreased by the testosterone high of having sex. So there's 3 hormones that play a role with guys. It's oxytocin, testosterone, and vasopressin.
I hadn't heard of that one.
I had not heard of that one either. So vasopressin is a long-term bonding hormone. Long-term is the key word here. You need time to develop this, right?
Does science say how much time?
You know what? I read it, but don't quote me on this because I don't really know exact number. But the point of this whole thing is that there has to be emotional and physical connection for a longer period of time for that hormone to actually be able to be sufficed so they can actually bond with you. So when you don't give it time, per se, one night stands, right? You're not giving the guy time. Testosterone actually decreases after the hype of a sexual intercourse, right? So after the testosterone level dips, which by the way, testosterone, so I told you about oxytocin, it actually basically numbs out the effect of oxytocin. So the bonding hormone that bonds us as women to our partner creates the opposite effect in men. The exact opposite effect. Okay, so testosterone takes basically over, and after that hype or that high of testosterone while having sex, right, that goes away. So when that goes away, the guy's like 10,000 thoughts can come into his head. Why? Because he's not bonded to you, right? So it's like the high and then the decrease in testosterone basically provides them with a really low. So if they don't have an emotional connection with you, they're going to be out because you provided actually no long-term result from him. Like
it was only a physical attraction, not an emotional one. It was just a physical thing.
And maybe at that point when the testosterone even goes away, it happens, pretty sure a lot of guys that listen to this are going to relate. They're like, oh, she wasn't that pretty. Kind of should have not done that, you know? So from different perspectives of how we not only think about it, because I think that a lot of things is like, oh, well, they're just like a-holes, right? Or like they just don't care, or they're emotionally unattached or emotionally unavailable, which might be very much might be a thing, right?
Right.
But there's so much things that they have no control over. And so I think that being aware of it as a woman, it's huge because now you can actually say like, hey, there's actual science behind this. Maybe don't go out and have 20 one-night stands in a whole year, right? Because like it's gotten me nowhere. There's a reason for that, honey. Like it's literally
multiple reasons why that wouldn't be smart,
right? But I'm just
but from the scientific perspective,
yes,
it's very detrimental.
You can't refute facts.
Yeah.
So I think that it was super interesting because it makes a lot of like once you're aware of it, you're like, oh, that's why this happened. Or like I was telling you, like another thing is, don't believe a guy when you've met him for 48 hours and he's already love bombing you. Like that's not a thing, right? I mean, and
what do you mean not a thing?
Not a thing.
Like he's not actually in love. Is that what you're saying?
He's not in love.
Yeah.
Right? So we were talking about this earlier and I was like, well, that's where my brain kind of like it's very challenged. Because I'm like, well, after knowing me for 48 hours, like, how would you not want to marry me? I'm like, we were going back. And I was like, I mean,
why shouldn't they be in love? I don't know.
When people tell me, well, he's love bombing you, and I'm like, yeah, I know.
And I enjoy it.
It makes sense, though. Like, what do you mean? So, facts over feelings, data over drama, like, it probably is not a thing. He's probably very, very much interested in possibly getting me into bed instead of like being actually emotionally interested or invested in me, right? Because we haven't really had the time for that vasopressin to develop. Yeah. So being aware of it, I guess, gets you like this tool to actually set yourself up for success because now you have facts that prove this. So put it in action, put it into practice. But do you think that now that we've talked about like the whole hormonal aspect of it, do you think it actually makes sense?
Oh, 100%.
Right?
1000%. Yeah. And it just seems so obvious, like now that you say that. Yeah. But whenever you look at behaviors of typically men and women in an early dating relationship, it's so crystal clear. It's so interesting. Yeah. It's so interesting. Did your research find anything about like love at first sight? Or you hear people say a lot of the times, or guys will say this a lot, and they're like, well, I knew after the first date she was the one.
Right.
What do you believe that is?
Well, I've gotten that too. And like I've been married once and I've gotten it multiple times, right? So I think that for guys, see, what I've felt that what I've like researched psychology, love, like all these things, right? And I feel like a guy, whenever they are ready to get married, they go into a relationship knowing that they want to get married, right? For us as women, it's more of the fact that you want to get married, you want to have kids, you want to have the lifestyle, you want to have the life. So every relationship there's a potential prospect to your dream. That for them is different. For them, they have to burn through relationships until they're actually ready to get married and settle down. And then the next relationship, they'll be able to move forward with that really, really fast. So for example, I've seen a lot of like relationships that happen that they've been together for, let's say 5, 6, 7, 10 years in a committed long-term relationships. They have kids, they might like live together, have kids, all the things. They've never gotten married. And so what usually happens is that, let's say that they break up, and then the guy, usually his next relationship,
he's gonna marry.
He gets married.
Yeah.
And then that girl or woman at that point, she's like, what did I do? I gave you kids, I gave you consistency, I gave you monogamy, I gave you everything. But that's where I feel like you have to be very intentional when you're dating. And I'm one that I'd rather scare you off. I'd rather get you to run for the freaking hills, dude. Like I'll go into like whenever I started like on the apps, like I would go into dates and be like, yeah, like I want to get married, I want to do this, I want to do that, and like I'd rather scare you off. Yeah. Like run, honey, because I'm not gonna waste my time, right? So I would say if you're at that point of actually getting married, obviously in your blunt meter, like measure it out, but don't be afraid to ask for what you really want, because
100%, because you're never gonna get it.
You're never gonna get it. So for those girls that
or draw a boundary.
Yeah, and women that are like listening to this and they're like, that's me. Like I've been in my relationship for so many years. It's like kind of put a timeline on it. Like have the talk. You know, you can't inspect what you can't what you like. You inspect what you expect, but they also have to be aware that you're expecting that.
Yeah, you have to communicate those expectations.
You have to communicate those expectations. And if you've just been living this life of living together for such a long time, why would he change? Why would he? It's not a thing that you've actually talked about, right? So, and again, to each their own. Nothing wrong with having like a long-term relationship if that's what you want to do, but that's not what I want, right? So I think that being very intentional about it, but also like I think that for guys getting married is they think about it differently. They have to be there already prior to meeting you. And for us as women, we're there and we're just looking for the one. That makes sense.
Oftentimes, yeah. Is that something your research shows?
And that's what I've heard and like read through in psychology books about men and women and how like they get to the point of either long-term monogamy or actually having and committing to a marriage, even if they don't believe in like marriage. Like for us, I think that we look at marriage very differently because we're Christians. So that's what we strive and want, right? And for other people, it's just a thing that might come because you want to
make it official or whatever.
You want to make it more official, but people constantly say it's just a piece of paper. It means nothing. And for me, it's just like, it means everything. Like, you can't just be out. Yeah. When you're married. Like, create friction. Yeah. Right? So create a lot of friction to the point of like, legalities. Like, who wants to go through that? On a breakup, I can just like, bounce, peace out.
It's a lot of paperwork to get you divorced, y'all. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat. It's a lot of paperwork.
I have no idea.
It's a lot of paperwork.
I can only imagine how dreadful that is.
Oh my gosh. And I literally did it twice in like 8 or 9 months. It was not recommended. Not recommended. But yes, that's so interesting of just the science behind all of it. Like just the psychology. And I think that it's a little bit maybe nature versus nurture because I don't think that this gives necessarily a pass or an excuse to guys by any stretch of the imagination. Like, ladies, you should still have your standards high and you should draw those boundaries and communicate these boundaries. But I think it's really cool to understand the why. Exactly.
You go into it knowing exactly what you're setting yourself up because there's a biology marker in all of this. Yeah. Kind of you have no control over.
Exactly.
Right? So I think being very mindful about that could give you the right strategy and the right tools to basically be like, okay, this is what the cards that have been handled, oxytocin and estrogen. Right. Let me just be mindful about how the physical connection attributes to these hormones skyrocketing. Because for us, oxytocin also comes from having an emotional connection, right? But the splurge of oxytocin and estrogen after sexual activity, even if it's a day in or a year in, it's kind of the same. But for guys, it's different because of the vasopressin. So being mindful about that, you're probably gonna get into like your next, in Jesus' name, next relationship. Be mindful about this hormone called vasopressin, and you can be like, okay, let me give it 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. And then not only, I feel honestly as a woman, like not only do you get commitment from a guy that way as well, but hormonally, he will create a connection with you because vasopressin also develops through emotional connection. It's not only through physical connection. Sure. It has to be a combination of both for long-term. It's a long-term bonding hormone. Okay, so yeah, absolutely. I think that, I mean, how easier would have dating been like in our 20s if we actually
understood the psychology.
Understood and knew this, right? It's like, I mean, are we crazy? maybe. But like there's a hormonal aspect of this, right? So yeah, being mindful of that, you can also control your emotions a lot better too. Like, hey, this is hormonal.
Right.
Like, this is not me getting emotionally attached overnight to this guy. This is actually hormonal. So let me give it time to see if it's true, to see what it can develop to be, right? But you can't say that overnight. And we very much feel it because, again, there's hormones. There's a whole hormonal aspect to this. So I think that for us as women, the best reference we can have to these hormones, like playing around in our bodies, basically our menstrual cycle. If you can relate to the hormones and all the feels that you feel before getting on your cycle, like that's somewhat what happens here. Like, again, it is hormonal.
Right. Yeah. Not necessarily in your control.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Like when you're about to get your period, you're probably like crying and you're like, I don't know what's going on. Like, just crying.
Yeah.
I remember once I was closing, and this was probably like the first year in our fitness offer. And I remember I started crying one day because I didn't close anyone. And like, that's not who I am as a person.
Right.
Like, I don't really care. And literally 2 days after I got my period, and I was like,
that makes sense.
Knew it.
Yep.
That was not me. It's the same.
Yep.
It works the freaking same. So if you feel like you're actually falling in love with the guy that you met a week ago,
it's not love.
It's estrogen. So
yes,
it's not love, it's estrogen. So I would highly, highly advise check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yes.
And have a heart
proceed with caution.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
give it time.
What would you say if someone's out there listening? What would you say the biggest takeaways from this?
I think it just provides so much clarity of early relationship boundaries that I think everyone should have in place, right? So I know that that's very controversial, and some people equate it or chalk it up to, oh, I'm a religious person, so these are my boundaries, or I'm very body positive, so sleeping with the guy on the first date, who cares, right? Like, I think that this kind of takes the opinion out of it, the emotion, and it's just the facts, right? And it's just that, hey, regardless of your beliefs, regardless of your value system, this is just smart because it's science, right? So I think that is the biggest takeaway from all of this, is just proceed with caution and give it time regardless of the circumstances, because then you can have an unhealthy attachment, and then it can become a toxic relationship very, very quickly. And if you're bonded and you're attached in a week and he's not, then that's really not going to create a happy experience for either of you, and possibly would have been a really great relationship had you kept your boundaries in place, right? Yeah. I think that's a big takeaway for me. So what's your opinion on love at first sight then? Is it true?
I don't believe so. I think that for me, I think that this is probably more so a thing for guys than for, at least for us. Like, I've never, obviously I have to be attracted to you, right? Like, I have to like physically be attracted to you, but that's not going to be the thing that gets me bought in. So I think that for guys, when they're like, I knew that I was going to marry her 5 minutes after I saw her, a lot of, and this is also like science-based, like women measure, so you know how they say like tall guys get any girl, right? Because of their height. So what height is to women and men is what facial beauty is to men and women. Okay, so I think that for a guy, whenever they're like just drawn in by their facial beauty, and then it's like the woman that has all the main attributes that they've been looking for, because now they're in the mindset of, I want to get married. Right. That's very easy for them to be like,
check the boxes.
Checked all the boxes. I'm not letting this one get away.
Yeah.
Right? And they can somewhat like have a lot of control over that, right? Now for women on the other, this is at least my opinion in it, like you can't just be attractive and that's gonna win it for me. So for me, love at first sight, I don't really believe in that, and that's my reality. Just because I need like time, I need to, there's different things that have to
consistency
to love, right? Yeah, absolutely. So, and I can even tell you, like, guys that are online and they have like, if I can see your abs and they're like in my face, I probably am not gonna be attracted to you, because like there's only room for like one princess in the relationship, and I want to take that spot. So like guys that take care of themselves more than I take care of myself, if you can beat me on that, that's a red flag.
So you think abs are a red flag?
Not abs, but like having a profile pic shirtless with like a six-pack, honey, you're doing too much. Like
I do agree with
I'd
that.
rather you have a six-pack maybe, but not have it in my, like, I just
leave a little mystery.
That would be like, like the cherry on top. It's not a thing that's gonna win me over, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I think that things like that, like also like guys that like take a picture in their car, or like with the car behind them, right? Things like, for me, it's just like
a cringe.
Look, if you take longer to get ready than I do,
that's a problem.
We're probably not gonna be a good fit.
Yeah.
I'd rather you literally go out with shorts, a t-shirt, and I'm the one in heels and a pretty dress, because I will always be overdressed like 99% of the time. And I'm really okay with that. Like that's actually my goal every single time I go out, right? So I think that when I see a guy that is very into himself, I'm like, yeah, the attention span for me, like when will you have the time? Right? You'll be staring at the mirror too long. So for me, those type of things like that just
such an ick.
That is a super ick.
Yeah.
Like that just does not win me over. So short answer, no, I don't believe in love at first sight. But for guys, I do believe that is very much a thing. But not for me. For me,
you think it's really love at first sight?
I think it's the possibility of love.
So it's attraction.
It's very much attraction, but I think that guys do. I think that they really do know. Like they.
You think?
I think that
taking one glance at a girl and they're like, "Yep, she's the one." And then they
like on the first date.
Say they just met in public.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, if they just met, no. If that's what you mean, no, I don't believe in love at first sight.
I don't either.
No, I don't think.
I believe in attraction at first sight, which for a guy is a very big deal.
Very big, yeah,
and then
guys.
He will rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Right.
So attraction at first sight for guys, I would definitely say yes. I mean, would you look at a guy and say, "Oh, he's cute"? That's not the thing that's gonna win me over, regardless. Like I might think, "Oh, you're cute," but I can just go along about my day because, like, okay,
there's a lot of cute guys. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Like another cute whatever. I don't know. I don't really feel like I look at a guy from that perspective either, because that's not what attracts me. That makes sense. Obviously, like, don't be ugly. I'm not gonna be attracted to you if you're ugly. But like,
there's certain physical features that are important.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so in a nutshell, yes, neither of us believe in love at first sight.
I don't believe in love at first sight at all. No.
I believe that love is a choice. Like love has to be an intentional choice. Yeah. And I don't think that you can choose to love, like truly love someone like day in and day out without knowing anything about them.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe in soulmates?
No, I don't believe in soulmates. I think that if I did believe in soulmates, like, I would have stopped dating when my late husband passed away. Like, I don't think it's a thing. I think that you make it work with who you choose to make it work with. And I think there's a couple of billion people in the world, and for you to actually think that God took the time to be like, I created this exact human for you, that's kind of a bit of like entitlement. I was about to say,
it sounds kind of narcissistic, doesn't it?
It sounds a bit narcissistic. Yeah. So like, I would just tell you like, probably not. I think again, like back to your point, love is definitely a choice, a daily choice. And when you know that, you and your partner will have a very like fruitful and happy relationship if you're both in the same thought process, right?
Same level of commitment.
Yeah, but I do not believe in soulmates, because I think that that's a very shitty mindset to have. I think that I think that, again, like, there's too many people in the world for you to be like, oh, there's only this one exact person that was actually born only for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe in that. I believe that love is commitment. I believe that love is somewhat like grit. You have to work on it, and it's hard. But it's like who you choose to make it work with.
Exactly.
Right? And if you're both willing to make it work, then you're probably going to have a successful relationship, right? But if you think that you have a soulmate, that's going to be really, really hard for you, because
I think it makes your expectations unrealistic.
No, and not only that, think about it. So I think that you're my soulmate, and that means that I could screw you over any single moment I please, because you were born for me. You're not going to go out and look for another partner, because we were born for each other. So, like, I could screw you over. That gives you the open door to screw me over. And then at the end of the day, we're soulmates. So we're not like, that's kind of like
an unhealthy level of attachment.
I do believe so. Yeah. Like, I do feel like for you to not only get love, but retain it, it's two different sort of like approaches. And what usually happens with that soulmate mindset, it gets you to lack consistency, effort, because why would you? So yeah, I believe that when you think, not only do I have like a chance to probably make this work with someone else, not saying that I want to, like, I have this relationship, right? Not saying that I want to, but like, if I have that thought process, like, I'm probably going to put a lot more effort in, because I know that he also has that opportunity as well. Right? Like, he also has the possibility of meeting someone else. So if I'm slacking and I'm like, I fall off, then I could potentially push him into that direction. So I think when you're really mindful about that, it really makes you'll never, I don't believe that in a long-term relationship or marriage, you come in every single day as 100% you, but you at least try to. So yeah. Like, soulmates, don't believe in it. Absolutely not. I think that I did believe in it.
Did you?
I did. And then my soulmate died. And I was like, oh crap, then that's probably not my soulmate. Because he would be alive. Yeah. Like, it's just true, right? Yeah. So he passed away, and I was like, oh crap, like, I'll never get married, because that was my soulmate. And so I had to break through this mindset because I truly believed that he was my soulmate. So I think it took me like 3 months and someone to like slap me across the face and be like, girl, you're young, you're pretty, you're successful, like, you have all these things, like, you really don't want to get married? Like, you deserve love, you deserve happiness, like, you deserve all these things. Like, why would you like stay in that mindset? And I was like, I don't know, because he was my soulmate. And they were like, is that really true? So I think that I thought that before when I met him. And then he passed away. And so that cancels out that thought. I didn't even have to think about it once they laid out the facts for me. Right. Because if he were my soulmate, then what does that mean? I'm a 29-year-old widow. And I'll
never love again.
Never get married again. Never date again. Because like, my soulmate died. Such a shitty mindset to have. Yeah, I don't entertain it anymore. But I think it was because when someone gives me a logical reason to something, my brain clicks. Like, my emotions aren't a thing anymore. So they laid it out for me like that, and I was like, that makes sense. A lot of sense. So I think from that moment on, I was like, no, soulmates don't exist. Yeah. So yeah,
I agree with that.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, I think
that's
a valid.
You don't believe that either.
No, I don't.
Because then what?
Yeah, because it's just exactly what we were talking about. It's like, then love doesn't have to be a choice. You don't have to show up every day. You don't have to put in effort. You know, and I just don't think that. I think that it's important. Compatibility. I think there's certain people that you're way more compatible with than others. Yep. But I believe that it's a mixture of like compatibility and timing. I think is important.
Circumstances.
And compatibility, circumstances, and then choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 C's. Would you look at that?
The 3 C's.
The 3 C's. Yes. So I definitely don't believe in soulmates. I think that's like a silly concept. Very silly. Yeah. Yeah. So Well, hopefully you guys found this as interesting as we did. I loved diving into the science. Whenever Allie started talking about this, I was like, whoa, this is mind-blowing stuff. So game changer for me.
Super cool.
Yes. If you found this interesting or helpful, please share it. DM it to a friend or post it on your stories. This is how we grow this podcast, and we can get cooler and cooler guests and all the things. So please help us out, rate us, leave us a review, subscribe, and tune in next week at the Good Seed Podcast. Thanks, guys. How many milligrams of cocaine are...
This is very not healthy.
I literally said how many milligrams of cocaine are in Celsius.
I would not let these bloopers go to waste.
They're pretty gold.
Why do women fall in love faster while men seem to ghost after sex? And that's all I memorized.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Okay,
Why do you give it hard?
Why do women fall in love faster while men seem too emotional?
Be sure to hit that subscribe button and follow along with us on social media at The Good Seed Media. And stay tuned for all the updates and more information.